Hello, welcome back. So today we're gonna be chatting up, and I know y'all saw that title and y'all was like, what? So yes, I am pro mushrooms. Okay. My journey with mushrooms has been a little interesting one, I will say. I was always intrigued by mushrooms, but I was terrified to try them. And that's because, like, you hear all these horror stories about people getting butt naked, running down the street, people jumping off buildings, people seeing stuff. I mean, how it's portrayed in movies. So I I never, like, it was something that, like, in the back of my mind, but if I went through life without trying it, I would have been okay. But so it wasn't something that I was like die hard need to do, but it definitely something that, like, like, what if, so a group of my friends shared their experience, and this was still about a year before I actually tried it, to be honest, or maybe like 6 months. But they had shared their experience, and I still was not sold. I was like, oh no, I'm good, like, because that fear, just of like how my experience would be. So it wasn't like a fear of, the fear was just how would my personal experience be, not of the drug itself, if that makes sense. So I want to say it was about maybe last year, to be honest. I need to cut these bangs, Jesus. I think it was last year, and maybe like March or April. Yeah, it was early last year. And so my first time taking mushrooms. So I've taken mushrooms now a plethora of times, probably about six. But I think changing mushrooms, taking mushrooms has definitely changed my perception, and it has also enhanced my personal development journey. So I know a lot of people always ask me about my journey, and I don't leave out the fact that I've taken mushrooms, because I think it is like a crucial part. It's a big part in my whole story. And so, okay, we were at brunch, having a good time, drinking, blah, blah, blah. And, it was brought up, hey, like, we got some shrooms at the crib, like, who's down? So I'm like, oh, like I want to, but I'm scared. So we're like, okay, let's get it popping. So we went to the crib. We had a really good core group of friends around us, and I think that that is super important going into your trip, to having like secure, safe people around you, that there's no judgment or anything like that. And so these people are like my family. I love them, so I was fine. And so we went back to the house. I'm like asking questions about like how much and things and that. And for me, I was just like, well, I don't really want to like dive in, but I want to at least have a little bit to feel it. So I did a gram my first time. And I definitely would recommend, if you are trying it, to just do a gram first, see how it affects you. You don't have to go all, balls to the wall and take like 5 grams, because that's kind of crazy. But so took a gram and literally did not feel nothing. Like, I was like, I don't know what I was expecting. I think, because I've tried weed before and I like to have a cocktail, I think I was expecting on the lines of feeling like, you're going to start to feel it, you're going to start to whatever. But shrooms is not like that. It's really different. It takes a little while to get into your system, and then because you don't know what to expect, you don't know what to look for. So even though it was already affecting me, I didn't know, because I was expecting some crazy, like, a gnome to be sitting there and it's not really there, or like something to be jumping out the walls. I was just like, where is it? Like, I don't see nothing. And in reality, it is all about your perception because it is a hallucinative drug. But I will say some of the times after that I've taken it, I haven't hallucinated every single time. So I think that maybe it was because it was my first time. But your hallucinations also aren't as crazy until you realize it. So like, if you're not focused on something that has texture or has, you know, different colors or whatever going on, then the room and everything is still going to be like normal. It's not going to be like, like, you know what I mean? It's just not going to be like that. So I was looking for that and I was getting disappointed at first. I was like, what is this? Like, you know? And then about maybe 40 minutes in, me and my friends, so it was 3 guys and it was 2 girls, me being one of the girls, and like me and my homegirl was like, well, maybe it don't work on girls because they was already feeling it and we weren't. And they have this cool chalk wall at their house, and you know how you erase chalk and it leaves like a dust or whatever. So she was like, hold up, the chalk is moving, the wall is moving, right? So I'm like, what, where? I'm like, where? Because I'm like waiting, like I want some, you know, I want some excitement. And so I look and I see it and I'm like, whoa. Y'all, we were obsessed with this wall for like 20 minutes. And when I tell you time stands still, honey, 5 minutes feels like an hour. So you're going through the motions because you're like this. So like you're up and then you come down and you're up, you come down. And when we was up, it would be probably 5 minutes, but it would feel like an hour. It would be like, it's 6:30. And then it's like, it's only 6:35. Like, that's how we was talking. So that was the first thing that popped out, but it's not like I saw anything on my own. It was only because she pointed it out, and that's when the ball started rolling. So everybody will, I think you're able to see some of the same hallucinations, but everybody is individual. So it all depends on where your mind is, how your emotions are, all of that, all of these things that are starting to come up. So it's very personal. So yes, that was something that we saw together, but then after that it started rolling for me and I started seeing my own hallucinations. And one that I can vividly remember was seeing, it was like the walls were like, it was like water dripping down, but it was like a constant slow like stream, and that was happening to everything around me. So like as I would look at the wall, then I would start to see like, you know, water dripping down. The floor actually felt wet. I didn't have my shoes on. And I would see like that they had a pool in their backyard, and so I went outside, and even like on the walls of the pool I could see like the water or whatever. So that was something that's poured out to me, and I was trying to understand what was that meaning, what was that, why was I seeing that, because nobody else was seeing that. People had their own little things that were going through. And I think at that point in time in my life, I felt like that was me. And I felt like that was my position in life, that all I did was pour into other people, that I'm just constantly pouring into other people and giving myself. So I think that is why I saw that through my hallucinations. I saw a few other ones where like, you know, if they had like a blanket that had texture, it was kind of, it would move, and that's only because of the pattern that was on there. But I think we don't realize too that everything around us has energy. Everything around us, there's energy flowing everywhere, but our perception doesn't really allow us to see that deep into things. You know, even outside, living organisms, trees and the grass and the sun, I started to see colors were a lot more vibrant. We went outside, and it was like I was outside for the first time in my life. Like it was like I actually saw the tree. Like I saw its presence, you know, instead of it just being something that's there in my view. I saw it as a living thing. And it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but if you get what I'm saying, like it was like I was actually seeing it there for the first time. It wasn't just there, but I saw it, you know. And my first experience was probably one of my favorites, because I feel like in that moment, like a blindfold was taken off. And the way I explained it to them as we were all talking, and you can function, you can remember everything. It's not like with alcohol where you black out or anything. It's not like with weed where you feel stuck and heavy. We were eating food, we were watching TV, watching movies. Just your perception is just a little bit more crystal clear and a little bit more vast, I would say. You can get stuck on certain things sometimes. Like I said, we was on that wall for like 20 minutes, but it was things moving, and so of course we were staring at it because it was cool. But when we were just sitting down talking and getting deep and talking about life, what I said to them was that this is how my dream world is. So anybody that's new to my channel, I'm a vivid dreamer. I lucid dream. I'm really big on dreaming. That part of my brain I connect with a lot. And so that whole world that I have, that I'm in, I felt like that's how I was seeing reality in that moment. So being on shrooms made me feel like I was in my dream state, which was kind of cool, because I was like, you know, when I'm in my dreams and I deeply connect with purpose, with the universe, I make sure that any conversations that I'm having with anyone who's in there and things that happen, I really pay attention to and try to understand what it's trying to tell me. And so my first experience was so beautiful, not only because I was in good company and we were all vulnerable, but there was no judgment. We were all sharing what we were feeling, what we were seeing. And but the things that were coming up and the things that were being revealed that maybe I had been pushing down, it was like it was a healing. It was very eye-opening. My perception definitely changed, and it does say that your perception will change because you're seeing life and you're viewing things in a totally different light. I don't have any opinions on what other people do in their lives when it comes to drugs, but for me personally, if I'm going to do something, it has to be meaningful. It has to be for a reason. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't really smoke weed. I can't really handle it. It's too strong for me. And it doesn't do anything for me, to be honest. So my whole purpose in trying mushrooms was to see if it was going to be enlightening for me, see what it would bring up. And it really has changed my perception. Like just being able to see beauty, being able to actually see things and not just look but see, and to connect with self and to understand what that person in the back of my mind sometimes is trying to tell me. So yeah, it was amazing. I've had a few other experiences after. None have been bad, and that's because I don't go really high in the dosage. I don't think it's necessary. For me personally, I do know people that do like 4 grams, 3 grams. I just would never personally see myself going that high. So about like 1.7 is the highest I think I will go. And that's enough for me. And I did have an experience in nature that was amazing. Like, you know, being in the house is cool, but being outside in nature, that was probably the second best time that I've had. But it was nothing like that first time. I mean, the first time I can just still vividly remember every little detail. Like I cried, but it was tears of joy. It was so much love and appreciation. And your ego, they say that your ego is torn down. And so, you know, when we're egotistic, we're very high alert. We're not transparent. We're not vulnerable. And being on shrooms, I already tried to be that type of way even without being on any drugs, but especially being on shrooms, it made me even more humble and loving and vulnerable, and being okay with my vulnerability and seeing it as a beautiful thing. So it was just such a beautiful moment. I mean, if you could just imagine 5 friends sitting around being hippies, that is what it was. But I don't regret it at all. I am a big advocate. I always tell people to at least try it once, because it is more on the enlightening side. I don't think it's just recreational where it's just used for whatever. I think majority of people that do it, it's for a bigger reason. It's not just, oh, I just want to do some shrooms today and be high. Like, no, it's like, it's not like smoking a blunt. It's really something that is more personal, I think. I mean, hey, there could be some people that just like doing it to trip out, but that's not how I see it. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if that is something that you ever thought that, you know, I would share. But, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. And I am like all for enlightenment and for personal development and higher self. And so I think for me, that was essential for my journey, and I loved my first trip. So if you have any trip stories or shroom stories, shroom stories, leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear you guys' opinion or stories. And yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to share, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.